Welcome to Make Shit Happen. This is episode number 138. Guys, today I'm doing a little different than I usually do. Usually I have a guest with me. And today I'm just doing a solo episode number 138. I just want to talk about a couple of things, that I feel like something that I want to talk about, something that is near and dear to me. And, one thing I want to talk about is commitment. You got to be committed to whatever is your goal, whatever you are doing. Commitment to your work, commitment to your family, commitment to your loved ones. Because without commitment is just good intentions and just an empty promise. If you don't commit to something, you're just not there. You're not ready for it. So if one of your commitment is, hey, I want to make sure that I want to grow my business, or I want to succeed, or I want to save money, then you got to take action. You got to have a plan and you got to take action, because if you don't take action, it doesn't mean anything. The other day I was talking to somebody and they asked me, I told them about Acorn, and they're like, well, how much money do you got in there? And I told them, I got this much money. And they're like, wow, you can really get to this much money. And I told them, I'm like, look, I only deposit X amount of money every week, but it's just like it automatically comes out of my account. And, little drops here, little drop there, make a significant change. And that's what I've done. I've done it for so long that now I have a significant amount of money. And a lot of people, they look at stuff and they're like, oh man, it's going to take forever. Well, you got to be committed to that plan. You got to be committed to that course of action. You got to committed to something for it to happen. Commitment. You committed to losing weight. You committed to looking fit. Or you committed to being fit, having a healthy lifestyle. It got to be small changes. You can't, if you are overweight, you're 40, 50 pounds overweight, you can't, just go run 5 miles the first day. You can't think about you're going to do 100 push-ups the first day. It's just not going to happen. Most probably you're going to get tired. Your muscles are going to start hurting you. You're probably going to pass out. If you try to run 5 miles first day and you have not ran a mile in years. So everything in small steps leads to big results. So take small steps, but you got to have a commitment. You got to commit to that. Hey, I'm committed to making a change in my lifestyle. Hey, I'm committed to change my weight. Hey, I'm committed to get out where I live at and move into a better place. Hey, I'm committed to take my success to next step. Hey, I'm committed. I'm at work. I work at this job. I like this job, but I'm committed to getting a promotion and move up the ranks in the company. Hey, I'm committed to spending time with my family. Hey, I'm committed to having a longer lasting relationship. Whatever the commitment is, got to be in there. Because remember, without commitment, it's a wish list, it's good intentions, empty promises. And commitment to something shows integrity. It shows that you are a person of integrity. Because if you have a plan and you show commitment and you see it through, then it shows that you are someone who has integrity, because you just don't say things, you do things. When you put your mind to something, you not just only talk about it, you are about it and you do it and you take care of it. So that's what commitment does to you. And then another thing I want to talk about is, people get their feelings hurt about everything. Nobody cares about your feelings. Time goes on. Time keeps moving on. Time just keep going on. And time never comes back. The sun comes up. The sun comes down. It will never be yesterday again. It's just going to keep changing. Nobody cares about you. So if you just say, oh, well, this is not for me. Life is not fair. Oh, this person did me wrong. And you just go hide under your blankets and you don't, you just waste time. The only person you're hurting is yourself. Time keeps going. Time keeps spinning. Time never comes back. So if you waste time, you're not doing anybody else injustice. You're doing yourself injustice, because you're getting that far away from progress, that far away from your success. You are getting behind and behind and behind and behind. And I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you work in a company and you have a goal, a monthly bonus goal. And you say, it's okay, today's only the first. I will work harder when it gets to the 15th or the 20th. and I'm sure I can make it up. Now you're working from behind when you should be going from the first, because those first 15 days are gone. They're not coming back. So if you're slacked up and you just sat around and slacked around and didn't do the thing, that time is gone. Now you're working from behind. You're working harder. Give yourself a commitment. Commit that I'm going to start on day one. Commit when you go to work, you are going to give your 110%. Your intensity got to be at 110%. And if you are a leader or if you're in a leadership role, you got to remember people are looking at you. People are following you. So if your intensity is 110%, 115%, you will get 95, 100% of the people who are working under you. If your intensity is at 75, 80%, you're only going to get 50, 55% from them. So you got to be intense. You got to be committed, and you got to make sure that you are giving your all when you are anywhere. And it all goes back to commitment. And like I said, time goes on. Time never comes back. So if you're killing time, it just never comes. If you've messed up a Monday or a Tuesday, that Monday or Tuesday will never come. You just wasted it. And we know that you cannot waste any time. You cannot afford to waste any time. And when I said earlier about feelings, some people get their feelings hurt. Oh, my boss said that, I'm not going to do this. Well, your boss said something. Doesn't mean that you are going to go under the covers and hide, or you're going to go cry in the corner, because the only person you're hurting is you. And then I've always heard this saying that, I'm tired of killing myself for them. Well, you have two choices. Killing yourself for them. Number one, let me just clear up the air. Who is them? If you think them is the owner of the company, your bosses or whoever, I think you're wrong, because it's who is them is what you need to answer. Because if you don't have a job, do you have kids? Do they suffer? Does your family suffer? People who depend on you suffer? So them is not the company you work for. Them is the family, your family, because they depend on you to go to work so you can bring a paycheck, so they can have a roof over their head, they can have food on the table. So you're killing yourself for them, which is your family, which is people who are depending on you. Or if you just decide that, hey, you know what? I don't want to make someone else rich. I don't want to work for somebody else. Then you need to take the initiative and open up your own thing and go in business yourself. But you got to have discipline. You got to make sure you have discipline. You got to make sure you have commitment. You got to make sure that you have intensity. You got to make sure that you don't slack off, because you'll be back to step one working for somebody else right away. If you think that when you are working for yourself, you're your own motivator. You're motivating yourself. You got to get up and ask. Nobody's yelling at you. The bill collector is. That's it. You got to make sure you manage the money. You got to make sure you manage your hours. You got to make sure you manage everything. And if you are going in business thinking that you don't want to work hard and you don't want to, give 199% every day, you're wrong. Most people, they're slave to their businesses. There is no days off. And if you are only working 3 days, 4 days, guess what? You'll be out of business real quick. It doesn't exist. It's a unicorn. When you're in business for yourself, you got to make sure you push yourself. You're out there. I'm sure y'all have heard from a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, man, I work 24/7. That means the business is always on their mind. It's always clicking. There's never no days off. So, if you're thinking, I'm gonna go in business myself because I want to have freedom of time, it doesn't exist. Eventually, when you do make it, I had a video the other day, grind now, shine later. That's what it is. You gotta grind, especially when you're starting for the first 5, 6, 7 years. Man, you're gonna be grinding. And I'm not telling you not to open your business, not to go in business for yourself. You should. Everybody should. Everybody, if you have a dream, if you think you have the commitment, if you think you have the intensity, and you think you have the tenacity, and you think you have the discipline, definitely go in business for yourself. Because that's what will set you free. But it won't set you free for a long period of time. You can't go in there thinking I want freedom of time. It won't happen. Most people, when they have a profitable quarter and they're entrepreneurs, they take everything, they just spend it. And then when they have a drought, they go out of business because there's no cash flow left. there's no cash flow left. When you're in business for yourself, you got to think about 100 other things. But number one thing, if you're in business or if you're working for somebody or in your life, whatever it is commitment. You got to be committed. Guys, that's just some of the stuff I want to talk about today. Want to keep it short, want to keep it simple. On this Make Shit Happen podcast. I also want to play a couple of little clips from my previous podcast guest, and I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. Listen, guys, if you're following me on, if you're subscribed to Make Shit Happen podcast, I appreciate it. If you listen to it on Apple Podcasts, please rate us and review us. We really depend on your ratings. We really depend on your reviews. If you do not subscribe to Make Shit Happen podcast, please do so. I would really appreciate it. It means the world to me. We don't get any advertisement money. This is all done for, because this is something I like to do. This is something I want to spread the message. I want to do it as a service. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna go. These are a couple of messages from our previous guest. I hope you enjoy them. Thank you, and let's keep listening. You're on Instagram,
right?
You're on Facebook, and you're on social media, and there's always this chatter on social media: be your own boss.
Right.
Don't work for anybody to make their dreams come true, and quit your job, dream big.
It's a lot easier to say than do, especially when you have responsibility.
What do you think about that?
I think for me it worked out. It didn't work out immediately. I mean, it was terrifying for a couple of years. I quit a very, very high-paying job with a wife and 2 kids, and you see yourself, how am I going to pay the rent for the building? How am I going to do this? And then, I went to Harvard. Why am I feeling like this? Now, after a couple of years, it started to snowball. You do good work, and it's going to get better. It's led to and I'm not just a lawyer now. I mean, I do TV and stuff, but I also own a financial advisor recruiting business. I like doing new things, but there's a lot of risk associated. And if you don't have that's real easy. Like, it's real easy for people to see to me, like tonight, although I have all these things I'm doing, I don't think I work as hard as I used to. When I was at the office, 10, 12 hours a day, I pay other people to do that now. And the people that I pay to do it, and I pay them very, very well. I think sometimes you get frustrated because they don't think it's fair, right? Mm-hmm. But they never went through the years of uncertainty and the frightening times to get to where I got, right? And I think people just see the end result and think you just woke up like that. And there's no entrepreneur that just woke up like that. And unless somebody got really, really lucky, most entrepreneurs, like myself, you fall flat on your face a couple times. You got to get dust it off. And then when it does start to work, then people are envious of it working. And it's just not that easy. So is entrepreneurship for everybody? I don't think so. I think there are some people that are... You think so, or you don't believe? I don't think so. I think there are some people that need the security and the structure of a steady job. Because if no one's telling you need to put 10 or 12 hours work a day to get something to work, a lot of people just aren't willing to do it. But if they have a boss or they have structure, they're going to do what they are supposed to do, right? You have to have a lot of motivation. And, frankly, some people don't. Some people also thrive more in a workplace environment, right? So no, I don't think it's for everybody. Not everybody can just get up, take a shower, and get out of the house and go to work. Right. And, they just don't have the discipline. Right. Well, it's not even, some people, they're just wired different, right? And some people can be very successful with a boss, but without a boss, they're just not motivated, or if there's not guaranteed income, right? Because when you start a business, you're working for free a lot for a long time, and it's not till it really takes off. Slaving. Right, and you're the one not taking a check to make sure you can pay your employees. I'm sure you went through that at some point early on. Several years. Yeah, and you're not making any money. You're paying all these people. You're paying all these bills, and sometimes you're like, why am I doing this? I'll just go take a job downhill, Yeah, I totally agree. So what are your biggest regrets? There was a time when I was working in a firm, and even when I'd started my practice, I missed a lot of stuff with my kids. Now, when they got a little bit older, I didn't miss anything, like junior high and high school, no games, no anything. And I've always taken the time to take them on vacation. I think I could have, I think I was a little hard on my kids. I was the kind of dad that if they won the game and I didn't think they'd try hard enough, I'd fuss at them. I didn't care if they won or lost. I just wanted to try. I'd fuss at my kids for an A-. This is your job. And it's because I kind of had a laissez-faire parenting experience. I was just doing what I wanted to do at a very young age, which I don't think is good, right? I might have been overstructured, but maybe I could have been nicer to them. I mean, they've turned out to be pretty successful. I wish I'd have spent more time with my wife, instead of working. But on the flip side, I had the financial wherewithal, to pay, when my daughter got into this medical school in California, her rent is more than I made a month when I was a policeman. Oh. And, it's nice to be able to do those things for them.
That was the first episode with Charles Adam that was ever we ever had on Make Shit Happen podcast, and this was a little clip that I played with them. I hope you enjoyed. Let's listen to the next one.
I'd like to see equality.
Equality?
Yeah, I'd like to see equality. I feel like if we can get to that level of where everyone is respected, people are getting paid what they deserve, their worth, then we can balance out society. It'd be less people getting into welfare. And we'd have support. I definitely increase women's rights, reproductive rights. I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
I believe that growing up as a female, I can't stand it when anybody tells me what to do with my body. I don't like people control it. I don't think anybody likes their body to be controlled. And I think we're still getting to that where we're trying to let people understand that all we want is choice. So giving women just that choice of like, you decide what you want to do, like will eliminate so much repression and like, and just freedom of allowing you to be who you want to be.
So if you're a president of the United States, you will give equality. You'll let women do, whatever they need to do.
I let women run the world.
All right, so
getting rid of everybody in Congress, all females. Okay.
So here,
I don't laugh at that one.
Well, I like
because
it.
That's not
okay.
equality, at the same time. Maybe we'll have the Senate be men. I don't know. We'll balance it out.
Balance it out, huh? Guys, this was Vannessa Vasquez from episode number 2. Wanted to play that clip because since it's been a long time, we have heard that interview. If you have not checked that episode out yet, please do. Episode number 2 with Vannessa Vasquez. Now let's listen to the next one.
Well, for one, people don't realize how small the world has gotten because of social media, and how your reputation is the most important asset that you own. I mean, your word is everything. And when I purchased some real estate from a gentleman for my second Gringos in LaPorte in '96, he was an older gentleman from LaPorte, and businessman, and I made sure that I never mailed his payment for on the land that he financed for me, owner financed. I delivered it to his office always 2 or 3 days before it was due, because I never wanted to give him that opportunity to say that Russell was late on a payment. And so I don't think people can really underestimate the value of your word, keeping your word. There was a kitchen that we donated, a full service commercial kitchen to a private school that we donated in the early 2000s. And the company that did the work for us sent over the proposal. And after I looked over it and everything looked fine, I called him up and I said, "Hey, do you want me to sign this and fax it back to you?" Back then we faxed still. And he said, "No, Russell, your word is good enough." And at that moment, I had a moment realizing it does matter to pay your bills on time, to do what you say you're going to do and be where you're going to be. And you just being on time is so important that people just, I like to be early, way early than I do ever being on time. I'd rather just be early and not have the pressure of having to run, last minute urgency. But that's a very important one. So yeah, honor your word. It will take you further than you realize, especially in today's world. When I borrow money from a bank, and I tell the bankers, I borrow it because my intention is to pay you back. A lot of people borrow money, and back in the back of their minds, they're looking at it like it'll be someone else's problem, but it's my problem. I signed it, and I'm going to pay for it. So even looking into the future, I don't incur debt to think that my son or my grandson will have to be obligated for it. It's me only.
Guys, that was Russel Ibarra, the great Russel Ibarra, owner of Gringo's Tex-Mex restaurant. And he had so much things to say. I had to take that podcast and do it in a couple of parts. This one was from episode number 9, part 1. And I hope you enjoyed what he had to say. And, honor thy word means everything. Honor your word is the one rule that if you're in business or if even as a human being, you must Must do. I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, this was a couple of clips I wanted to play from our old episodes that when we first started this Make Shit Happen podcast. I hope you enjoy every one of them. You think this episode was good enough for you and you think you enjoyed it, please share it with somebody you love, your cousin, your uncle, your brother. We depend on you to spread the word of this Make Shit Happen podcast. Now let's go out there and make shit happen.